Hey Narwhals, I'm your host Luke Narwhal, and today we'll be reading some weight loss stories. Also, this week I'll be recording some personalized voice messages for our subscribers. So if you'd like a personalized voice message to help you stay on track and stay inspired for your weight loss journey, just go to lukenarwhal.com. The first 100 to sign up on that page will get their voice message within a week. As always, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more weight loss stories. I've just turned 34 and I'm in the best shape of my entire adult life after losing more than 40 pounds. I've been wanting to do a post on what my health journey has been like for the longest time and finally getting around to doing it. Background: overweight, 70 to 85 kilos at 5'4" for all my teenage and adult life. A family history of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, a dad died of a heart attack when he was 49, and stroke. Diagnosed with type 2 diabetes at 26 and never restricted any food. Relied on metformin to fix the problem. Food to me was instant noodles for dinner, nuggets, sour gummies, chips, basically junk food for children, and at least 3 cans of Coke Zero a day. Fully aware that my lifestyle was unhealthy, but was never motivated enough to do anything about it. The turning point and finding my why. Earlier this year, my mom was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. She had been overweight too since her 30s and suffered from a lot of medical issues. A stroke at 54, hypertension, type 2 diabetes. The exact moment when the switch flipped for me was when I was sitting in the doctor's office with my mom and her oncologist is explaining to her why they cannot proceed with chemotherapy because her body would not be able to cope. Poor kidneys, risk of another stroke, poor blood profile, etc. Most of the damage was done due to poorly controlled type 2 diabetes. Her cancer was quite progressed at the time, and chemo was the only aggressive form of therapy enough to stop it from spreading further. Instead, we had to opt for a less aggressive combination of radiotherapy and hormone therapy. Unfortunately, mom didn't survive the cancer and she passed away 5 months after her diagnosis. It was then that I realized that you could actually neglect your body enough to the point that even medicine couldn't save you. I went home and spent the night deep in reflection. I knew that I had to do something about my health. I was on the same track as my mom if I didn't change. I didn't want to be in my 50s crippled by medical complications. I didn't want to just rely at the mercy of medicine to save me. I didn't realize how poor lifestyle choices manifest in the ugliest of ways when you are much older, that it catches up with you and it comes swiftly. I woke up the next day, 31st of January 2020, and decided, this is it, I will change. The journey. Over the course of the next 8 months, I went from 76 kilos to 56 kilos. I've lost 20 kilos and weighed steadily over the months by changing my diet completely. 70% nutrition, plus 20% exercise and activity, and 10% recovery. I threw myself into learning about what I could do specifically to manage my type 2 diabetes and repair my insulin sensitivity. Binged on YouTube, subreddits, and lots of reading. I started intermittent fasting first, and then gradually went into tracking calories, and then embarking on keto. I didn't start working out purposefully until we went into lockdown in Malaysia, and before that I tried to hit at least 10k steps per day and did that probably about 4 out of 7 days a week. When we went into lockdown, I couldn't do my usual walks, so I had to change up the routine. I started with Freeletics, a hit circus training app, and then Les Mills Body Combat through their app. I started focusing on strength training at the gym with a personal trainer in July, and it's one of the best investments I've ever made. To be honest, I didn't really have a goal weight, as my goal was just getting my diabetes under control and getting off medication. The weight loss was a happy side effect. I learned that weight loss is not linear, and there are going to be weeks of plateaus. Stats. I went from 40% body fat to 21% and gained some muscles along the way. My HbA1c was at 10.6 at diagnosis and as of August is now at 5.8. And doctor halved my metformin dosage. Cholesterol ratio at 3.3 in August. A monthly average resting heart rate went from 78 beats per minute to 55. And dress size went from UK 16 to 8. A shoe size went from EU 38 to 37. I don't struggle with aches and pains anymore and I don't need to take naps midway through the day just to get through. And today, I am in the best shape of my life, physically and mentally. The healthier changes have impacted almost all facets of my life in positive ways. I feel like I've regained many years back of my life, and this lifestyle is something I can continue to do sustainably. It really is a lot of hard work and determination, but once you find your why or reach a turning point, nothing will stop you. I think figuring out the why is so incredibly important and key to making any kind of pivots in life. It sucks that it took cancer to be the wake-up call that I needed, and that mom passed away, but if this didn't happen, I would have continued living my life in ignorance, or rebellion as I stupidly told myself, and not taking care of myself. With mom's death, she gave me life and a will to live. Growing up poor makes weight loss even harder. And just for some background, I'm roughly 30 pounds from the weight I'd like to be and have been struggling with weight loss for about 5 years now. I grew up poor. My family could pay to feed us properly, but since they were horrible, they would use food and other necessities as a way to control my siblings and I. And growing up, we rarely had fresh food in the house. Most days I remember eating a peanut butter jelly sandwich for breakfast and coming home from school to eat ramen. That's it. I was skinny then, but it was because I had no other choice. Occasionally, my dad would bring home something huge and calorically dense, a 50% off cake he saw at the grocery store, or a family-sized bag of tortilla chips. When my siblings and I saw this, we would binge and try to finish it within a day or two. It felt like if we didn't finish it, our dad would, and then we would be stuck without food for the foreseeable future. When I left home for college, I suddenly had full autonomy over my food intake. I became vegan, and then vegetarian, learned to cook, and enjoyed buying groceries. But my weight has steadily increased, and to this day, I notice I have a hard time turning down food at the store. The thoughts of, you can buy it now, you have the money, and there's nobody telling you no, still go through my head as I pick up junk food and excess food. And being able to buy and eat what I want is definitely a positive change in my life, and I'm eternally grateful to be out of my parents' home. But I can't help but be frustrated that my past trauma is affecting my weight and self-confidence. For now, what has worked best for me is one meal a day, since I can allow myself to eat until I'm uncomfortably full and still meet or go under my calorie needs. I'm also trying out alternate day fasting with about a 50% success rate. I've realized when dieting, it's important to consider what you want from your day, and 3 meals and 2 snacks might work for people who are grazers, but since I like the feeling of fullness, it would just lead to overeating for me. Calorie counting is also effective, but I have a bad tendency to count the deficit and give myself an allowance for junk food at the end of the week, which ruins any progress. I'm learning that ultimately losing weight is about consistency. It takes about 28 days to build a habit, and I hope that this October can be those 28 days that turn me into a healthier person. I hope to see a therapist soon and work through my past. I'm tired of hating my body and feeling guilty after I eat. I'm ready for a change. Mental health during weight loss. For me, I'd always struggled with my body and weight. I'd always been slightly bigger, but nothing too bad. I remember when I was 18 and I moved down to London. I started listening to the fat acceptance movement and went to the mindset of believing I would always be big and would always eat a lot, and that was just who I was. My eating got out of control, and because I didn't know how to cook, I started eating takeout all the time as well as sweet foods. I'd always been fit, but my eating soon spiraled out of control. I came home at the start of the pandemic and found that I had gained 28 pounds and was heavier than I ever thought I'd be. I realized I needed to change. It all began healthily. I ate much healthier foods and less, started calorie counting, and began cycling. I lost weight at a steady pace and had a goal weight of mine set for 4 months' time before I went to university. But slowly, I got worse and worse. I restricted myself more. I ate less every day, stopped going out, stopped meeting with friends, and became obsessive over what went into my body. During lockdown, it was all I focused on. My mental health, which at the beginning was the best it had been, deteriorated, and I developed an ED. I remember wishing I could just go back to being at my heaviest rather than be the person I was now. I went from 190 pounds to 150 and still wanted to lose more and more. In my mind, I was still unacceptably fat, and I could not see the 40 pounds loss. Added to the fact that neither could my friends, or they never commented on it. I look back on it now and realize what I did wrong. Here's a few warning signs you should recognize when your weight loss is affecting your mental health. 1. If you get to your goal and keep dropping it every time you get there. And 2. Dividing foods up into good and bad categories, including cheat days and meals. 3. Avoiding meeting out with people and social occasions in fear that food will be involved. 4. Weighing out everything obsessively, even fruits and vegetables. 5. Feeling guilty for going over X amount of calories. And 6. Exercising compulsively. If this is you, or you feel yourself getting to these points, my best advice is to stop trying to lose weight right then, and give yourself at least a month to focus on maintaining. Stop calorie counting. I cannot stress enough, calorie count for the first month of weight loss maximum, and to get used to what you're eating and what's in certain foods, and then stop. You will know enough by then to give rough estimates to your meals. You're losing weight to enjoy yourself and be physically and mentally healthy, which is just as important as physical, if not more so. And no matter how heavy you are or thin, your worth is not defined by the number on the scale, and never ever will be. Lose weight for you and no one else, and as soon as you start bullying yourself, stop. You can do this. And that brings us to the end of the video, Narwhals. I'm now looking to feature your weight loss stories and posts on the channel. Visit lukenarwhal.com to submit your posts for a chance to be featured on the channel, plus receive a small gift. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, have a good one, Narwhals.